Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio, and I am your host, Deborah Bailey. I'm really glad you could join me today. And if you're listening to this show on Podomatic, then you can also find it on iTunes. And if you go to womenentrepreneursecrets.com, you can look there under the podcast menu, and you can find all the platforms that this show is on. And you can listen in many different places, but particularly on iTunes. You could do that. If you subscribe, it'd be great if you could leave a review there as well. So I hope that you will do that and allow the show to be found by more people. So definitely let us know how you liked everything, and that'd be really appreciated. So I'm going to get started today with my guest. And New Orleans native Rhonda Shear is a comedian, designer, entrepreneur, actress, philanthropist, and author. For over 4 decades, she's acted on more than 100 television shows, posed for Playboy, headlined in Vegas, been Miss USA, built a $100 million lingerie company, paraded down Bourbon Street, and married her childhood sweetheart and the love of her life, Van Fagan. She and Van live with their pack of spoiled puppies in her Barbie dream house in St. Petersburg, Florida, where they manage their business empire, open their homes to charitable galas and gatherings of friends, and savor the good life. So, Rhonda, I'm so glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you. What a fun introduction. Yeah, I've got those little pack of dogs all right here looking at me. Amazing. You can be a boss, a CEO, but the 5 dogs are definitely the bosses of the house. There's no doubt about it. And 5 girl dogs on top of that.
Oh, my
goodness. They rule the roost. But it's great that you're doing radio and blogs for women entrepreneurs, because I think the only way that female entrepreneurs really get help is through other females. I think that's how we help each other a lot.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's just been really great because I've met so many people from all over the world, and that's what's so exciting, because a lot of times women don't feel that they are supported. And in your book, Up All Night, you have so many stories in there of what you have done and accomplished, and I don't even know where to start.
Well, it's just I tell you what, it's pretty simple. I was a Louisiana girl and started in pageants only because I was really I wanted to become a choreographer, so I wanted to have the experience to compete in front of people, because I was competing for this choreography pageant, basically. And anyway, but my life is full of twists and turns, including that, so I started entering pageants at a very young age. Not very young, not like a baby, but like 15, 16, and started winning them, and that led to Miss Louisiana, and it led to a lot of speaking engagements, because they ask you to speak here and there. And so it's really great. Pageants, I've never put down the pageant system, because you end up growing up kind of quickly, or at least you end up with at least some poise, in learning how to keep yourself together and put yourself together to speak in front of people and host different events. So it was always a great experience for me, and I'm still friendly with some of my pageant gals. But and then that led to, just getting a little bit in the spotlight, which led to TV commercials in my hometown of New Orleans. One thing kept leading to another. And then I stayed at school in New Orleans. I went to school at Loyola University, majored in communications. I wanted to be close to my parents, very close to my, growing up. I had really great family, units, so that was fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I asked my parents if I could go to Los Angeles because I always had a little bit of the acting bug in me. And I went out there for a summer, and next thing you know, I had beginner's luck, I guess, and got a Bob Hope special and thought, wow, this is easy. I'm going to be a star in a minute. Well, it wasn't that easy. 26 years later, I did, stay a working actress from the time I got there to the time I left. And then I hosted a show called USA Up All Night for 8 years on the USA Network when basic cable was kind of in its infancy. So it was great. And then, and then I also ventured into stand-up comedy. I always felt more, when I could either be a little bit more of a character or not be completely myself, I felt less shy, because even though I had done all these things, it was a confidence level of having the mic in my hand or being behind a mic on a stage. So when I started doing stand-up, there wasn't many females doing stand-up. It was Rita Rudner and Paula Poundstone and actually Roseanne Barr. They had, but there wasn't many, and there was certainly none that were really trying a more glamorous approach to it. And, so they didn't know what to do with me. It seems like my whole life I've been in that situation like, you've got talent, but I don't know what to do with you. So I just figured I'd keep making my own roads, which I've done my whole life, even in my current business, which is women's shapewear, intimate apparel under the Rhonda Shear brand. My husband and I are business partners, and we have a huge company that started at HSN, Home Shopping Network, which is now HSN QVC. And of course, we're in many, many other places as well, but HSN was our first and most powerful customer. So when we're still there, and I still go on the air. So, and even that, people go, well, how did you go from stand-up comedy, to intimate apparel? I said, well, there was another little turn on the road that I was single my entire adult life by choice. I just had my eyes on the road, and back then I don't feel like it was, you just couldn't have like these actresses all have babies now, and it's fine, they can go away, but it wasn't as accepted. It was definitely a different world in the 80s and 90s than it is now. All the harassment and abuse and all that. Definitely. It's always been, but I think it was definitely a man's world completely back then.
Yeah.
So I didn't marry, and then all of a sudden, 17 years ago, my junior high school sweetheart reached out to me through classmates.com. And that was crazy. I was 45, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder what it would like to see the first guy you ever kissed. That would be like just a trip, never dreaming that we would end up married. And I just never dreamed. I was dating producers and moguls, and not that those people was where I wanted necessarily to be, but I was dating people in the industry because that's where I was. And next thing you know, I went home for Christmas. He was a Louisiana boy. He lived in Lafayette at the time, and I'm from New Orleans. And I went home, and we visited the day after Christmas 17 years ago and got married 15 days later. So we really kind of jumped into that situation.
Wow.
And so people always kid and say, well, what was your business plan? And I'm like, our business plan was survival because we didn't think through anything. We eloped and sprang it on his two kids that later in the day that this is your new stepmom. And Van knew me because he had been watching me on television for years, but I didn't know him until, I hadn't seen him in years, but it seemed like a really good idea. And 17 years later, I have to say, thank goodness it worked out. It was a really good idea. And truly was my first kiss, and was a businessman. And he was really what I needed at that time in my life as a partner, but certainly in the business world, he was also what I needed. Even though I didn't know I was going into the business world, I didn't think I was going to ever stop being an actress, comedian, but not that I really stopped, but I didn't think there was another career path but that. When you're in show business, you think that's it forever. But anyway, we started through a series of things. We, Van said, what do you want to do? I said, well, I've always, and I did. I always had a yearning for design, even though I didn't major in it. It wasn't as easy to major in back then. And and I didn't want to leave home to go to another school. I said, I love designing, and women's intimate apparel is really uncomfortable, and I just thought there was a need, a necessity for a better way to do it. And that's what happened. We started, he had been in software business. He had owned several, different kinds of businesses. And his business background definitely helped, put it all together. So we started Shear Enterprises on a wing and a prayer, literally. I mean, we really didn't have the finances to do it. Both of us had done well in our lives. Both of us had gone up, and then both of us had gone down financially, anyway. And but we both felt the same, that if we really put our hearts and soul in it, we always felt like we could make money, and we just wanted to work together and be together, because we've been apart for 26 years. And so it was just, we never dreamed that the company that we first put together would then become this multi-million-dollar business and selling the world's #1 bra of all time. And it's just, you have to, as I tell young entrepreneurs that I speak to all the time, you have to have belief in yourself and faith in yourself. And all those things that you say which sound corny is 100% true. Like, you really have to just go for it and not ever give up, and really believe in yourself. Because when we started doing our business, even though we both, I had the experience of years in front of the camera and the comfort of being in front of live audiences, this business was new to us. And no banks were going to help us out at that point, because we were new kids on the block in the fashion world, and they're looking at us like, are you crazy? And we both came from different. So we just basically took all of our little pennies and 401ks, and literally I hocked my jewelry, and we started our business. And,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I got my jewelry back, though. My husband made a promise that he would do his best to get it back, and he did.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And, it was just an amazing journey. And that's, the book. I mean, the book you were talking about, it's called Up All Night. It's called Hollywood Bombshell to Lingerie Mogul, Life Lessons from an Accidental Feminist. And it covers all that. I mean, that I had this Hollywood, very dramatic, exotic, fun life that I worked very hard at. And then one day I was accepting the Ernst & Young Award. So it's like, life can take you a lot of interesting places, that's for sure. I
see. It's just really amazing, because there's just so many things that you have done, and it sounds like you just kept saying yes. And saying,
people kept saying no. I mean, even from when I was a little girl, I mean, I got a lot of no's, and then when you're in show business, you get a lot of no's anyway, a lot of negativity. I mean, that just goes along with the industry. You go out on a lot of auditions before you get anything. And so I kind of you never get completely used to rejection, but you learn to grow a little bit of a thicker skin. So it was the same way when Van and I started business. He had done many businesses, and he had been through a lot as a businessman, and he had been married with 2 kids. So I think interesting enough, even though we missed our early years together as a couple, our experience and our growth as people, and really helped us in the business we ended up in. And he always kids, he goes, well, I was in software. I never dreamed I'd be in really software, like panties and underwear and bras and nightgowns,
That is a big difference, though, isn't it?
It's a big difference, and he's really involved in it. I mean, he has great ideas for product design. And in the beginning, we didn't design in the very, very beginning, but very soon after, we everything is designed in-house. At our design studios in St. Petersburg, Florida, and we manufacture worldwide. And we did learn this journey together, from literally stuffing bags and poly bags and shipping ourselves to having 2 warehouses and a nice sized team of product developers and salespeople and graphic designers, and a studio on site where we could do our own, because we're on television, we do our own content. So it's really interesting what you can learn even at 46, starting over, completely over, when you don't think you have the energy, and then you do. I mean, it's really funny, because my husband, it was the first time when we got married that he didn't have his own company because we decided to just start over, and he'd always worked for himself. And so he took the first job that he basically ever had in his life was for another company, and he couldn't handle it because he's such a creative person that, it's hard when someone tells you, it wasn't for him. And neither one of us, we're like, we have to do our own thing. We didn't know what it was at the time in the very beginning, but we put it together and figured it out.
Wow. So how did it feel once you saw what a success it turned out to be? Like, how in the world does that feel?
Well, it feels great. It feels great that, hard work pays off, and that once you put your mind to something, it really does pay off. And, and we love to give back to the community. We do a lot of charitable events, and, we also love mentoring young people, and I love having young people work for me because I learn a lot from them, and we give them a lot of freedom to go do their thing. We're not micromanagers. I mean, we enjoy their input, and being successful. I guess the first thing that was really fun was, that I never had owned my own home. Living in LA, I had rented condos or what have you, but I had never owned. So getting our first home was the first sign of, well, at least we're on our way and we're making money. And then buying the home that we live in now, which is a 10,000 square foot home that has a gym and a pool room and it has a spa. Nice. It has like all these really cool things. It's like the ultimate adult playhouse. Well, that's when I felt like we kind of, for me, is when I felt like we had made it. And so, we created this bra, and it was a bra that's a seamless bra that's a knitted bra. And it kept doing really well in my early years on HSN, on Home Shopping Network. And my husband one day said, I think that bra would be great if we turned it into an infomercial. And I said, really? I said, I've never thought of a bra as an infomercial. And he said, well, let's test it. I mean, usually you think of a gadget of some kind, or a steamer or something. And we tested it, and it just blew out. It just blew out. And the next thing you know, not only did it blow up in this country, but in 34 countries. So we sold over 35 million bras.
Oh my goodness.
And a lot of women love this bra.
Wow.
For sure.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Oh my goodness. That's great.
It's very comfortable, and, everybody wants comfort and support and all the things. But, we do a full line of intimate apparel, loungewear called Odd Dreams. And then we've also branched in the past into other, we've actually have other names under our business as well that we've created products for. So it's an interesting journey, and we're still going at it. And no plans to sell our business at the moment. We're happily going ahead.
So, when you were in the entertainment field, and as you were saying, it's, it was probably more of a man's world, I guess you could call it at that time. So, I mean, looking back at it now, getting through that, I mean, are you really, not surprised at the terrific career that you had, but seeing how there's so many.
It's really funny. Well, it's funny because definitely in my Hollywood years, I was, because of my image and I portrayed a lot of the sexy types and the femme fatale, which was fine. I mean, I was getting work, so I went after it instead of pushing away from it. Eventually, I went after it, but for years, I was so typecast that when we went into this business, I think in the beginning, I thought that people were going to think the same thing about me, that, she's a bimbo, she's an airhead, because of the kind of roles that I did, or even my up all night image of the character. And I think finally just with age and like finding a new audience of females who are, for the most part, I mean, yes, many of them knew me, or many of my customers know me from Up All Night, but most of them know me and trust me from 15 years of being on the air with a great product. So it's, it was a nice surprise to me that I was finally getting a certain, not that I didn't, my husband, respect is getting, as he says, is the paycheck. It's like you don't always have to be patted on the back. If you're getting the paycheck, you're getting the respect, which I always did in Hollywood. But then I felt like I was getting the respect and the paycheck for what I'm doing. So it's it's really nice. And still, I mean, I'm still as excited about it as I was years ago. And when you design something and you see it come to life, and then people love it, it's really cool. It's really, it's like a head trip.
That's
true. It is,
Yeah.
You see people wearing, or either I'll be wearing something of my own or from my line, and they'll go, well, whose is that? And I'll go, well, that's mine. It's from my line. I mean, it's just a nice thing to be able to say and do. And there's we're building our loungewear line, nicely right now. And QVC just is now partnered with HSN. So, we go on the air in Canada on what's called the shopping channel there. And we go on the air at QVC in London, and along with many other like Harem and Bare Necessities. So you can Amazon, you can find our product, and you can find my book on either my website, either rhondashear.com or Amazon. But if you buy from rhondashear.com, the book, I will personalize it and sign it for you. Where if you get it on Amazon, you'll get a copy, but it won't be a signed copy.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, yeah, it's really neat. Being an author has added like a whole new dimension and a lovely dimension to my life, because I get to speak, all over on radio shows and podcasts. I get to talk about my line and speak to people all over the country. So I've really enjoyed that part too.
Did you think that you would write a book one day, like when you were working?
I always wanted to. I think for my own, I wanted to just write down the things that I had. I mean, there's no way you can ever write down a lifetime of and a very eclectic, crazy life. But I wanted to just put down a lot because of my parents, and I just felt like there was a lot of things I had done in my life that other women needed to know, that they needed to know that it's never too late to find love, after 40, or it's never too late to completely change businesses and careers, or maybe if you've never had a job, change and find a career. Or if you've had a job, it's okay not to. I mean, there's so many things you can do in life, and I just wanted to put it out there that if I could do it, anybody can do it for sure. And so I enjoy speaking in front of women, and I love speaking in front of college students. So they're just awesome too. I mean, they really want to learn, and they're so new. They're so wet behind the ears, but they've got great ideas, and they just don't know how to get them out there. So just talking about that is really cool.
That's true. And when you consider that now with, technology and things being sold online and everything opens up so much opportunity that wasn't there before.
Oh my God. And they're the ones who can do that. I mean, they are the ones, they're taught that from baby. And that's the things that, not too many people in my age range know how to do. And that is such an important part of business now is, online marketing and online sales. And it's not, I mean, brick and mortar, I don't think is going to leave us, thank God. But I do think that we are in a world that is demanding things, online and being able to tell the story of the product and then getting it out quickly to a consumer. So I think everybody wants everything. They want to walk in and touch it and feel it. And they might come home and buy it online, and then they want it fast. So
that's true.
It's all good, and it's a fun time to be actually in retail, where it wasn't for a while. I mean, not with me so much. I mean, we opened a boutique just for my husband did it for my vanity. I'd always wanted to open a little brick and mortar store. And of course, we did it in 2000. It was a beautiful store. It was a beautiful boutique ever. But in 2007, and it was the crash of retail. It was like the worst time you could do that. And I quickly learned that retail brick and mortar was not as fun as I thought it would be. I thought it was just going to be this glamorous, people whirling into the store, and people still miss that store. People still ask me, "Where is that store?" But at least I had my little taste of it, and I can say that we did it. But I learned a lot from that. That I love going on air and talking. It's really perfect because I'm able to combine my show business background and career and comedy and levity along with sales, and that's just it's a nice mix for me.
Well, I think it's perfect because I'm sure, as you know, everything now is branding, and here you have this brand that you built over from nothing. which is thank you. It's actually a nice thing to think of as well, because I mean, your big brands, and they've been there forever. So even to make a little, not necessarily a dent, but move over, like I'm here too, and we're all, but there's plenty enough room for more brands. And I definitely know I have my own niche in that most of my designs are a little bit what I call
shaping lingerie. So it's way more feminine than what's out there in the market, I believe, and comfortable too. So I just feel like I have a niche market, and I just continue to do that. I think if you have a need for something as an entrepreneur, and then other people will too. And so I've always designed, for myself first, being able to obviously design for all shapes and sizes and all women, but knowing that if I need it, or if this is something I'm thinking of, there's a lot of other people out there that need it too. So that's true. That's how, and it's really true. I mean, when people design something and it's a big hit, whatever, some kind of gadget, and you see them on Shark Tank, it's usually because, wow, why didn't I think of that? It's like I needed that, but I didn't think, and I'm impressed with people. And we see a lot of products because we live in an infomercial town, since HSN is like based in St. Petersburg. A lot of people come to us to help get their products off the ground. And we have done it with a few people, and we just actually are getting ready to work with another. I mean, I can't even say it yet because it's in the works, but it's completely out of our field, completely out of our field. And it's something my husband found, and I'm really excited about it. I mean, I don't know if it'll end up selling retail or on infomercial or what, but it's definitely one of those moments when you go, wow, that's a great, like you think that someone can't invent another great product, but they can,
Well, and it's so exciting that you're in a position now that you can bring all your experience to help these other entrepreneurs who are coming along with other products and putting things out here.
Absolutely. And we like to tell everybody that, you got to keep it, you got to get your product out there. And everybody asks us the same thing over and over. Yeah, but what if someone else copies? And I'm like, oh my gosh, we got knocked off. We were shocked over that.
Really?
All my years in Hollywood, I never had anything. Oh my gosh, we were knocked off by all the major infomercial companies, and it did take a big chunk of our business away. It did, and even with that, we still did very great with this infomercial. But everybody and their grandmother knocked us off because it's really hard to patent a clothing. You can, but it's really hard. It's just really hard. So someone just has to change it a little bit, and then you can do it. But so it was just, that was as much as I thought I learned in Hollywood and even along the way, when this happened, I mean, it was literally heartbreaking to me that this happened. I was like, I can't believe people would do this. How do they sleep well at night? And my husband actually met face to face with one of the bigger competitors and or knocker offers, and the guy said, he says, I know what you're going to ask me, and he goes, I sleep great at night. This is what I do.
Oh my goodness.
I am the knockoff king. That's what I do.
Wow.
And when I see a good product, I immediately jump in there because I've got the year. And he's a multi-gazillionaire.
Wow.
And that's what he does. And he actually wanted to go into business with us. He goes, I would just love to have Rhonda on our team. And Van goes, no, we're doing we're fine. We're not jumping ship from our own thing that we invented to you.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it was just definitely eye-opening for my husband and I to see that kind of, snakes in the grass mentality, and then them going, it's all good. So
I know.
You do, but I do tell people all the time. I just spoke in front of Tampa University and an entrepreneurial class at Home Shopping Network, and I said, just keep going. You've got to be the first one to get it out there, and don't be afraid. And, do whatever, keep speaking about it and try to patent it. If you can patent it, do it. Or at least get patent pending. It'll at least scare away a few people. Maybe.
Oh my goodness, that was so bold though.
So bold. Oh my goodness. We learned a lot. And then of course we produce our product everywhere, but a lot of it's done in China just because they don't have the manufacturing capability in this country to do the amounts that we sell in the hundreds of thousands when we go on air. So, but we went to the Canton Festival, which is a big fair in China that they do for every product. But, at certain times of the year, they have intimate apparel. And we sent my team over there, and they said booth after booth were like, we invented the Abra. And it was like all these, Asian manufacturers all saying that. And it's like, oh my gosh, not only did we get knocked off, but now even in China, the manufacturers were knocking each other off. So it was a learning thing, for sure.
It sounds like you definitely will learn a lot in this business. So you have to be ready to roll with it. I guess.
Yes, I think you have to be ready. Just as an entrepreneur, you have to be ready to roll with anything and not be shocked, and just don't take no for an answer. Is my biggest biggest advice.
Well, that's perfect. And this has gone by so fast, Rhonda. I feel like we just started, but
I know. I'm a big talker.
But there's just so much to learn from. But now we're at the end of the program. Any final thoughts? I know what you just said. It seems like a wrap up. But is there anything else you'd like to share before we close?
Well, just as a woman, there's a lot more, I think, openings, especially with the whole, not just because of the Me Too movement, but I think there's a lot more opportunity for women. And I think women are being taken even more seriously now than ever. So I think for female entrepreneurs, it's a great time to be out there. Mm-hmm. So definitely don't say no. Don't listen to no. Keep going. It's just a great time to be in the marketplace of anything, whether it be a product or a businesswoman or whatever. I'm excited that I can say that I'm part of that team. And I'll just, I'd love anybody else if you have any questions, to communicate with me either through Facebook, Rhonda Shear, or through Twitter. I'm under Rhonda Shear, and on Instagram, Rhonda Shear. And I even have a YouTube channel called Rhonda Shear TV. So it's really easy to find. And what a lot of people do reach out to me, and I should say, I don't say it a lot, and I forget, is LinkedIn. Okay. And I get a lot of even offers and radio blogs and offers and just other entrepreneurs asking me questions. So if you have a LinkedIn account out there, then definitely please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions for sure. And I love communicating. I love that we can all communicate and keep in touch and help each other. It's good. It's good, and it's good karma to help your friends and fellow females in the industry. In any industry. It's little tips definitely help.
It's true. It's true. When you don't know, when you see someone else doing their thing and you want to get some advice, I think it's just wonderful that
how you learn. It's how you learn. I tell people to go to as many business speeches in their town if they see any kind of women events or anything, or even if it's not. Just people in business. In their hometown or, in the, anywhere, I say go. Right. Get on a plane and go. You never stop learning in life. I never stop learning. Part of life is research, and you continue to research, and we continue to get new manufacturers all over the world, and you can't stop. You have to keep learning and growing.
That's great. That's great
advice. Anyway, I enjoyed speaking with you, Deb.
I enjoyed this too. Thank you so much, because it's just exciting to know what you have done and continue to do. And,
Thank you.
We need more women to see what's possible for them out here.
Oh, yeah, we're good. We're tougher than they all know. We bounce back. We're resilient.
Right. That's true.
And look, even my little 5 dogs behave for the entire show so far, and not a peep out of them. So it's really a good night.
I know. Well, I so appreciate you taking the time with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Deb. I hope to talk to you when the book is a movie next year.
Yes, I'm looking out for that.
Okay. Thank you, dear.
You're so
all
welcome.
Right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So everybody, I know you enjoyed this program. I know you learned a lot. Please check out Rhonda's book. I have a copy. It's terrific. There's so many things in here that you will learn about her and her business and all the things that she's done in her very long and successful career. And definitely check out her products. If you're someone who's looking to create products, then you could certainly learn a lot. So I hope that you will do that as well and reach out to her on social media. And also I'm going to put a link in the show notes. She did a little Q&A for her book on the blog, so you can also check that out as well. So once again, it's Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on facebook.com/women entrepreneurs and on the website womenentrepreneursecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dvcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.